So in the last lecture, we studied about error control, and before this, flow control, right? In the data link layer, right? Flow control, and then we studied error control. Right. So in this, we will discuss about multiple access protocols. See, these flow control protocols and error control protocols are the part of LLC, right? So this one is a part of MAC layer, right? Multiple access MAC layer. We say MAC layer. Two layers are there in the data link layer, you know, LLC and MAC. So in the LLC, we talk about flow control and error control. In the MAC layer, we have access protocols, and these protocols actually we divide into three parts: random access protocols, control access protocol, and channelization protocols. For today, we discuss about these one: Aloha, CSMA, and CSMA-CD. These three technique of this we will discuss. Then remaining we will discuss in the next lecture. Let's see. So random access. In the random access, actually, you have shared channel, right? Let's say this is your shared channel, right? And multiple stations are there. This is station, here also station, and here also some station is there, right? So in the random access protocol, there is no priority system, right? Any system can send their packet on the channel or anytime, right? If I have a frame on my system, on my station, I can send on the channel, right? So there is no priority. You have to send first, I have to send later. No, there is no priority on this. So anytime we can send. So there is no station is superior to another station, right? None is assigned the control over another, like this. So at each station, a station has data to send, used a procedure, define the protocol. Some protocols are there. On the basis of this certain protocols, we have to send the data on the channel. Simple thing. So two or more transmitting. Now the thing is, now if there is no priority, nothing is there, anyone can send the channel, anyone can send the data on the channel, then there is a chance of collision, right? Then there is a chance of collision. To handle the collision, some protocols are there. So this random access MAC protocol specify how to detect the collision, and the second one, how to recover from the collision, right? What to do? Better to delay the transmission. How? Just check channel is busy or no, like this. So we will study few techniques here. Okay, the first one is a Aloha. So Aloha, actually two types of Alohas are there. Aloha or slotted Aloha, right? So here I am talking about pure Aloha, or also we call unslotted Aloha, right? In pure Aloha, so it's the basic theme of these protocols are there. Whatever the transmission media you have, just you have to send the data and check collision is coming or not. The main theme of the complete multiple access protocol. Guys, audio is clear, right? Okay, fine. So any system having a data, it can transmit immediately. So whatever the frame I have, I can transmit on the transmission media. If more than one frame are transmitted, they interfere, right? See, let's say one station is here, one station is another here, A and B, and both are accessing the same channel. Both are accessing same channel. This A can send the data on this channel. This B can send the data on this channel, right? This one is possible. So whatever the signal, bit information are there, so that bit information we convert into the signal. Whatever the signals are there from both A and B, they can interfere. If they can interfere, then the collision will happen or data will be corrupted, like this. So we have to abort the transmission, because if data will be corrupted, then the accuracy of the data will not reach to the destination. That's the main thing, right? So the interfere with each other, then collision will happen or data will be lost, right? Due to collision. Pure Aloha protocol rely, and the third main point of this pure Aloha, protocol rely on acknowledgement from the receiver. Whatever the frame I send on the transmission here, if the acknowledgement does not come to the sender back, to the sender, then I have to send the frame again. I have to send the frame again. You know that part. Otherwise, When I will send the frame again after the timeout, whatever the timeout is there, after the timeout happens, I have to send the data again. If once the collision is identified, the main thing about pure law is when you send the data, let's say collision happen, then I identify, okay, maybe timeout happen, let's say timeout happen, then I have to wait some random amount of time. And that after random amount of time, again, I have to send again, right? So that random amount of time we call as a back of time. We call as a back of time. So we will study in the further slide what is the meaning of back of time, right? After that back of time, again, system retransmit frame after back of time. Simple, right? See. So you have 4 stations, let's say station 1, station 2, station 3, station 4, right? These 4 stations are there. Any whatever, if this station 1 has some data, it can transmit on the channel. Station 2 has some data, can transmit on the channel. And this is a shared channel. This complete is a shared channel, right? Now let's say this frame 1.2 transmit from the station 1 and frame 2.1 transmit from the station 2 at the same time. At the same time, if both are accessing same channel, same time, collision will happen, right? Collision will happen. So this is a collision relation corresponding to channel 3 and 4, right? Because at same time we are transferring, because still the transmission of the bits is going on from station 1, still the transmission is going on, the channel 2 is also transmitted, right? So collision will happen. So there is very less probability that our frame will reach to the destination without suffering from the collision. Very less probability, right? So we have to find out what is the probability in the pure ALOHA or slotted ALOHA, like this. See, guys, clear? Next, see, this is the procedure for pure ALOHA protocol. See, this is a start station has a frame to send, and K is the number of attempt, means how many retransmission will happen. In the starting, that counter is 0. How many retransmission will happen? In the first time, we send the frame, right? After that, wait timeout. After timeout, if acknowledgement I didn't receive, then I have to send the frame. Otherwise, success. Otherwise, success. So if timeout happen, let's say timeout happen, then maybe my frame is lost, maybe collision will happen. I increment my counter, means retransmission will be there. Increment the counter and wait random amount of time. That random amount of time is a back of time. The random amount of time is a back of time, right? Is a back of time. So whatever the back of time is there, after that time, again I will retransmit on the channel. Again maybe collision will happen. Again maybe collision will happen. We don't know. Is possible. Possible. Is depend upon multiple systems are transmitting at same time. So probabilities are very low. Your frame will reach to the destination without suffering from the collision. Is low. See, K is the number of attempts. And you know the propagation time. Propagation time from A to B point, how much time it will take is the propagation time. Average transmission time for the frame is your transmission time is how much time the data will we put on the channel. This C, 100 bits of frame is there. So when the last bit we put on the channel, that much time is the transmission time. You know that thing, right? See, and the number of attempts in practical life, if someone is using pure ALOHA protocol, is K is equal to 15 maximum. 15 time retransmission is allowed. Otherwise, we abort that transmission. Same thing. Guys, say yes or no about pure ALOHA. Clear, fine. So this is about pure ALOHA. And there is a one definition, vulnerable time for pure ALOHA. Vulnerable time means at the time where possibility of collision, means a period, at that period possibility of collision will happen, right? At that period. So in the pure ALOHA, the period is 2 into transmission time. 2 into transmission time, not propagation time. 2 into transmission time is the vulnerable period. In that period, there is a chances collision will happen in that period, right? See now, how it is possible. See, this is t minus your transmission time. Consider anything. Okay, and this is your t. and your transmission of frame A start at this point at t. T consider this one as a 30 minutes. This consider as a 30 minutes, and this is your 0, and this is your 1 hour. So the difference between t minus tfr and t is 30 minutes. Consider this one. So at 30 minutes, the frame A started, right? And before this 30 minutes, this hello guys, I'm audible. Yeah, seems I'm disconnected. Okay, so this is 30 minutes. Before this, from 0 to 30, from 0 to 30, from 0 to 30, in between, not the exact 0, in between, frame B is started. Here, frame B is started. So transmission is still going on at 30. Transmission again happened from station A, right? So here collision happened. Here collision will happen, right? Similarly, let's say at 1 hour, but in between 30 to 60 minutes, in between 30 to 60 minutes, the frame C from class station C started, right? Still transmission is going on from the channel, from the station A, right? Still transmission is going on. In the meantime, from station C, transmission started. So here collision will happen. So that's why we need that vulnerable time. The vulnerability period is 2 into transmission time, right? So in that time, there is a chance from station A, whatever the frame is there, collision can happen, right? Collision can happen. There is a chance. So that we saw this is a vulnerable time, right? If we avoid that vulnerable time from the perspective of station A, right? From the perspective of station A, then fine, right? Guys, say yes or no. Okay. So that is about vulnerable time. And what will be the throughput of that pure OLOA protocol? What will be the throughput? And throughput, you know, number of bits divided by total time, whatever the total time is there. But the rate at which data is safely reached to destination without suffering from collision, right? So the rate at which data is safely reached to destination without suffering from collision, that if there is no collision and whatever the percentage of data is reached, we say that is the throughput of the system of that pure OLOA protocol, right? Pure OLOA protocol. So that throughput we have to calculate. So how you calculate the throughput? Throughput is your whatever the channel load and the probability of the success. Probability of the success of the data to reach the destination. And the probability of the success means without suffering from the collision. It's not that we reach safely. We reach safely, but without suffering from the collision. Even a single time, there should not be a collision, right? That is the probability of success. So that is the throughput. S is a whatever the channel load multiply your probability of success. So how this formula came? We apply Poisson distribution probability here, right? So big derivation is there, so no need to worry about that thing. Just you have to think this is the probability of success, and that is a channel load. If you multiply whatever the capacity of the channel, your channel load multiply by probability of success, that will be your throughput, right? It makes sense, right? It makes sense. Channel load multiply probability of success. Okay, so no need to worry about YE minus 2G we are using, right? So that is the big derivation of Poisson distribution. If you want, I can explain that later also. Like I will share the complete derivation, but from the gate perspective, I don't think so. You have to go that deep how actually this E raised to minus 2G is coming, right? Later we can see, but not from the gate perspective. See, and the maximum throughput in the pure OLOA will be 0.184. That will be 18.4%. 18.4%. That is the maximum throughput possible in pure OLOA, right? How I calculate this 18 point throughput, see this formula is there now. Try to find out the maximum of this one. If you try to find out the maximum of this one, your throughput will become 18.4, right? So just try to calculate the maximum of this one, is you will get. So when you try to get the maximum, your G will be 1/2 will become out. You know the maximum part, right? ds divided by dg equal to 0 at the time. ds divided by dg. Now you have to apply differentiation here. Now you have to apply the differentiation here. If you apply the differentiation, your maximum will come and g will be 1/2, right? So in Pure out of 100 frame transmitted, maximum 18.4 frame will reach to the destination without suffering from collision, right? And remaining all frame will suffer from collision. That is the probability, guys. So the dependency of the throughput will be on the channel load and the probability of the success. Any question? No. Okay, fine. So that will be. See, now see this question. In the pure Aloha network, 200-bit frame, your frame size is there, right? And your shared channel you're using, that is the bandwidth of the channel, right? What is the throughput if the system and system will all station in the network, whatever the network is there. Now see, this is your network. Here this is system, this is your system, this is your system, this is your system. So in the complete network, four stations are there, 4 stations, and to whole network we say system, and whole network we say system. So if the system all stations together produce 1000 frames per second, 500 frames per second, and 250 frames per second, so you have to calculate what will be the throughput, right? From the perspective of pure Aloha, right? See what will be the output. Let's say your 200 bit is the frame size and 200 kbps is the bandwidth, right? What will be the transmission time? Transmission time will be 1 millisecond. You know that transmission time, you know. Your frame length divided by bandwidth, you know that part. Now if you want to calculate, let's say how many 1000 frames per second whole system is sending, so it means 1 frame per millisecond I am sending, 1 frame per millisecond, right? So what will be the channel load? Channel load will be 1, right? Channel load 1 per millisecond, 1 frame I am sending on the channel, right? On an average, if you consider whole network as a system, right? 1 millisecond, 1 frame. So what will be the channel load? Only 1 frame on an average. So what will be your throughput? So as you know that thing, formula G into E minus 2G, right? You know that part. So apply this one. So here G is 1 multiplied by E into 1. So that will be 13.5%. That will be 13.5%. Means if you send 1000 frames per second, right? So the max throughput of the system who is using pure Aloha protocol, only 13.5% frame can be sent to the destination without suffering from the collision. It means 135 frame, right? So all 135 frames out of 1000 frames will survive without suffering from the collision. Other may suffer, right? Let's say consider 500 frames. Now let's say consider 5. Now here channel load is 1, right? In this. Now let's consider 500 frames, right? Now if the system creates 500 frames per second, so 1/2 frame per millisecond, right? Half frame per millisecond means 1 frame 2 millisecond, 1 frame 2 millisecond, right? 1 frame. So in this case, what will be the channel load? Means normally your transmission time is 1 millisecond to send the frame, but here half frame per millisecond I am sending. So channel load is half frame per millisecond. So channel load is 1/2, right? So S is equal to G into this formula is there, just apply. So so see, G is equal to half. If you apply this one, the output will be 18.4%, right? 18.4%. This means the throughput is 92 frames out of 100%, out of 100 frames will probably survive. And that will be the maximum throughput case. That will be the maximum throughput case because channel load is 1, 1. If you try to find out the maxima, your channel load will come 1 by 2. So that is a maximum throughput from this one, right? Possible. But 250 frames, right? If 250 frames are there, means 1/4 frame per millisecond. That's your channel load. If you apply this definition, it means only 38 frames out of 250 frames. Still, this is 15.2. So in the starting, we got 13.5, then 18.4, then 15.2, right? So if the channel load is half now, and if we are using pure law protocol, then that maximum throughput we can achieve. Otherwise, always less than 18.4%. Guys, make sense? Okay. Next one. The second protocol is slot protocol. Slotted Aloha protocol means there is a slot when you transmit a frame always in the starting or in the beginning of the slot. Always. Let's say we assign 30 minutes as a slot. So in the starting of that 30 minutes, you have to send the frame. In between, not possible. Anytime you can't send. Slot is there, always in the starting you have to send. Next slot will come, then only. In the starting, we send the frame, otherwise don't. That is the meaning of slotted Aloha, right? Any system is ready and it can transmit only at the starting of the time slot. Now, the possibility of collision will be less as compared to pure Aloha. See how? See how? Now, station 1, right? Send the frame in the starting of the slot first, right? Slot first. And at station 2, send the frame, at station 3, send the frame in the starting of the slot 2. So, both are trying to access the channel. So, collision will happen again, right? Similarly here, right? Collision, but the possibility of collision will be less as compared to pure Aloha. See how? See how collision will be less as compared. Here, the throughput of slotted Aloha is G into E minus G, right? So 36.8% is the throughput, means that number of frame will reach to the destination without suffering from the collision. It's double from the pure Aloha. It's double from the pure Aloha. That is the meaning, right? How it is happening? See, now earlier, anytime you can send, anytime you can send the frame without seeing any, there is no slot, but here slot is there. So whatever the vulnerable time, your vulnerable period will be less as compared to pure Aloha. In the pure Aloha, vulnerable period is 2 into frame size, is your transmission time, right? 2 into transmission time. But here in the slotted Aloha, your vulnerable period or vulnerable time is the only single transmission time, right? Because 0 to 30 in between you can't send. In the starting only you have to send, right? If you're in the starting, if you're sending, means whatever the transmission time of that frame, only that time collision can happen, otherwise not possible. But in the pure Aloha, 0 to 30 in between, let's say at 50th minute I'm sending the frame, and 30 minutes also next from the next station I'm sending the frame, collision will happen, right? That's why the vulnerable period is 2 into TF in the pure Aloha, but here TF, right? See. See now, this is your 0, let's say this is your 0, this is your 30, and this is your 60 minutes, right? So at the 0 station B send the frame, right? At the 30 minutes, station A and station C send the frame. So here, this is your collision duration, right? TF, vulnerable period. But earlier in that, here also I am sending, here also I am sending from the station A and station B. But in this, the timing of sending the frame on the channel is fixed. That is the difference between pure Aloha and time slotted Aloha. Now, 17 slide. Okay, the same question. Same question. A slotted Aloha network transmit 200-bit frame on the shared channel of 200 kbps. What is the throughput if the system produce 100 frame per second, 500 to 50? Same question we are applying on the slotted Aloha. And here throughput is, right? S is equal to G E minus G. Earlier I'm using minus 2G, here only minus G. Why E minus G? Poisson distribution. Again, I'm saying Poisson distribution probability I'm applying. Complete derivation is there. No need to worry about the thing. Just think from that, whatever the channel load multiply probability of the success probability, right? Of the frame. How much possible success of the frame to reach the destination without suffering from the collision. So just remember that part. In the slotted Aloha, e raised to power minus G, and in the pure Aloha, e raised to power minus 2G, right? See the answer in 1000 frame and see. So in previous pure Aloha, when the channel load is 1/2, then only we are achieving the maximum throughput. So how much we are achieving? See, your transmission time is the 1 millisecond for one frame, right? And now if 1000 frame per second we are achieving, so 1 frame per millisecond, that thing. Apply the inputs in that formula. The output will be 36.8%, right? Means if 1000 frames are there, 368 frames probably survive without suffering from the collision, right? That is the maximum throughput. Means if the channel load is 1, then we achieve the maximum throughput in the slotted Aloha. But in the pure Aloha, when the channel load is half, then only we achieve the maximum throughput, right? Okay. Now think about 500 frames, right? Here, right? We can skip from similarly 500 and 250. It's loading here actually. Some internet issue is here. Guys, screen is visible. Your question, measurement of slotted Aloha is visible. Yes, is visible. Fine. So your measurement of slotted Aloha channel with the infinite number of users shown that 10% of the slot are idle, right? Shown that 10% of the slot are idle. So you are using slotted Aloha first of all, right? With the infinite number of users. 10% of the slots are idle. What is the channel load possibility? And channel load is G, right? And slotted Aloha, the throughput. Throughput is equal to S is equal to G into e raised to power minus G, right? If 10% of the slots are idle, it means the probability of success is there, 0.1 is given, right? Probability of success. So if you apply this one, e raised to power minus G equal to 0.1, you can calculate G value, and G value will be 2.303 easily. That will be the channel load, and this channel load is greater than 1. So if that channel load is greater than 1, that thing, it is not a maximum throughput. Your throughput will be always less than, because when the channel load is equal to 1, then only we are achieving the maximum throughput, which is 36.8%, right? And what will be throughput? Whatever the channel load, multiply with the probability of success, and that will be 0.2303. That is the throughput. It means 23%. It means 23%. It means 23%, right? Which is less than 36.8. And is the channel of underload or overload? See, when C is equal to 1, then the slotted LoHa obtain the optimal throughput, maximum throughput. So if G is greater than 1, we have too many generated frame in the slot, right? So it is an overload situation always. You have to balance, right? If the slot G is equal to 1, then is the maximum throughput. Means whatever the frame we are generating is a very optimal, right? So this is overload situation. Means whatever the slot, so many frames we are generating at same single slot. That's why your throughput is less. Why? Because collision will be more. If collision is more, then there is less chance our frame will reach to the destination without suffering from the collision. Right? Now think about second question. And this is an interesting question actually. See, a large population of Aloha user managed to generate 50 requests per second. 50 requests per second, including both original and retransmission, both. And time is slotted in unit of whatever the slot is 40 milliseconds. Means every 40 millisecond new slot will come, right? So in the starting of the slot, we have to send the frames. What is the chance of success on the first attempt? What is the chance of success on the first attempt? See now. So here we have to find number of frames that are generated in one slot, right? You know, 40 millisecond is given is there. Given in 1000 millisecond number of frames will be 50. See, 50 frames per second. You know that. So in 40 millisecond, how many frames we can generate? Just you have to do the calculation. So number of frames will be 2, right? Means 1 second we are generating 50 frames. In 40 millisecond, how many? 2 frames, right? So if 2 frames we are generating in one slot, it means what is your channel load? Channel load will be 2. You know you got it. G will be 2, right? That is your channel load. What will be the success on first attempt? And what is the probability of success on first attempt? E raised to r minus G, right? Just find out the value, whatever the value e raised to r minus 2, that is the probability of success at first attempt. Because without suffering from the collision. If we suffer from the collision, again we are doing the retransmission, that is a different thing. That's we say probability of success at second attempt, right? See that from that angle also you can see. So let's say we have to calculate if what is the probability of exactly k collision then a success. Let's say second collision. Let's say after first collision, what is the probability? Collision happen, right? Similarly, if two collision happen, let's say if two collision happen, so you know probability of success. Probability of success is e raised to r minus G. So what is the probability of if not successful? If it is not successful, that will be 1 minus e raised to r minus G, right? You know that is a not successful, this is a successful, right? So in the first attempt, let's say collision happened, okay. So this probability will suffer. In the second attempt, again collision will happen. In the third attempt, again collision will happen, up to k collision. So that is the probability of k collision will happen, right? Here too. So you have to say a to k, right? And in the next attempt, without collision, my frame sent to the destination, which is e raised to r minus G. So this formula you have to use easily. Means you know that probability thing, right? So 1 minus e raised to r, that is a not successful case. That is the probability of not successful. How many times you have to multiply that number of time? And the next attempt, when the successful, your frame reach to the destination without suffering from the collision, just multiply with that. E raised to r minus. Right? If two number of collision, 3 number of collision, 4 number of collision, just you have to apply, right? You understood that now 1 minus e raised to minus G. 1 minus e raised to power minus G. Is it not successful? Right? Guys, say yes or no. Okay. Now this is all pure aloha and slotted aloha. There are two types of aloha, pure aloha and slotted aloha. And पापा क्लास में आ रहा हूँ. Okay, sorry. Actually, I came to my hometown. Next one is a CSMA. CSMA. Screen is visible, right, guys? So CSMA here. Now earlier we are not detecting. We are just retransmitting. If timeout happens, we have to transmit. Now in this, we can sense the channel and check collision is there or not, or yes, channel is busy or not. Means we are sensing the channel, right? We are sensing the channel here. That's called CSMA, carrier sense multiple access, right? So before transmitting, we have to listen the channel. If channel is busy, don't send. If channel is idle, then send, right? So in that case, when the channel is idle, then energy is low, right? Then energy is low. You need see there is no signal on the channel. There is no noise or energy on the channel. When the channel transmitting the data, when the channel transmitting the data, then energy is moderate. If data is transmitting, then energy is moderate. If collision happen, that energy is always high. That energy is always high, right? You can see from the diagram, right? You can see if the red part is a collision, right? The sky blue part is a transmission, frame transmission, and if there nothing is there, that is idle, right? Next one. This is this is space-time model of the collision in CSMA, right? This is space-time model of the collision in CSMA. Here at B, at T1, B start transmitting, right? At T2, C start transmitting the frame, right? And before T1, let's say T node. At T node, A station start transmitting. So the how the signal interference happen. So whatever the black portion is there, na, this portion is the signal interference, right? If both are trying to send on the busy channel, that both stations are trying to send on the shared transmission media, then how the collision happen? How the collision means a signal interference happen. So the area black portion area is a where the signal exists, right? This one, your area where both signal exist. This part. So that is the just a diagram to show how actually collisions happen. Your signal interference. So in this in CSMA, we have a three techniques. So three persistent behaviors are there. How we have to send the data. So three techniques are there. First one is a one persistent. Second one is a non-persistent. Third one is a P persistent. What is the meaning of one persistent, non-persistent? In one persistent, we are continuously sensing the channel is busy or no. If channel is busy, again we are sensing and we are not transmitting the data on the channel. When we find out, when the station find out channel is ID, send the frame on the channel, right? That is our first way, one persistent. Second way is when we are sensing the channel, if channel is busy, wait some random amount of time, whatever, wait some random amount of time, then again sense the channel. If again it is busy, then wait random amount of the time, again sense the channel, right? Here we are not sensing continuously, right? Then only when we find out channel is idle, then send the data on the channel. Third one is a P persistent. In the P persistent, continuously we are sensing, right? When we find out channel is idle, in the starting of the time slot, whatever the probability, here we are saying P means probability, whatever the probability, if probability P, if P, whatever the, let's say 40% probability is there. So if the probability is less than 40%, then only send on the channel, otherwise don't send. This P persistent on the basis of probability. If probability is there, then send, otherwise don't send, right? If P, let's say P 40% is given, if 40% probability is there, then or less than, then only send on the channel. If greater than 40%, don't send, right? And here in the starting of time slot you have to set, right? If probability outcome allow, then only transmission will happen, otherwise there is no transmission. So three ways are there: one persistent, non-persistent, and p-persistent. So this CSMA technique, with anyone we can use. One persistent we can use, non-persistent we can use, p-persistent we can use. Guys, right? Say yes or no. Okay. Now these are the flow diagram of this persistent. See, in the one persistent, in the channel you are sensing, right? Channel you are sensing. If it is busy, again try sense. If we find stations can transmit. In the non-persistent channel, we are sensing the channel. If channel is busy, wait random amount of time, right? And when we find out the idle, then transmit, right? So here in the second one, we are not continuously sensing the channel. We are single time we are sensing, then wait for some time, then sensing, like this. In the third, p-persistent, continuously we are sensing. When we find out channel is idle, then we have to check the probability outcome. If the probability outcome is less than p, then station can transmit. If the probability is greater than p, then we have to wait for the next slot. Then you have to wait for the next slot and again apply the probability and send the channel, right? It's not like that we have to wait the slot and then again send. No, again you have to see the probability. This is about three persistent. So let's say this question, gate, this is a gate question. I think gate 2007 or 5, maybe gate 2007 question. There are n station. There are n station in the slotted LAN, time slotted LAN we are using. Each station attempt to transmit with probability p in each time slot. You know that the p probability is given. What is the probability that only one station transmit in a given time slot? We want to try, guys. If you want to try this question. Okay, try it. You have to apply the probability. Successful, not successful, you know the combination, you know the how to apply combination and permutation and combination. So this is a time slot in the starting of the time slot we are sending. And P is the probability at each time slot to send the data on the channel. This is 0. See each station attempt. So you know how many stations are there, and let's n stations are there, right? Anyone can send. Sanjeev, yeah, right. See, it's simple, right? What is the probability of exactly one station? Only one station means exactly one station transmission, right? So you know n stations are there, NC1. You have to choose, right? So n minus one station is not successful and one station is successful. So 1 minus p raised to power n minus 1. That will be unsuccessful in that. And multiply p, right? Answer is B. It makes sense. NC1 is n. You know, NC1 means n, and n number of stations. So n minus 1 can't send data on channel, right? Only one station can send. So what will be the probability? 1 minus p raised to power n into p. That will be the probability. Guys, make sense? Clear? Okay. Next one is, you know that carrier sense. You have to listen before transmitting, right? Now we can detect the collision also. That is also possible, right? So CSMA CD, this one, CSMA CD. Now we can detect the collision also. So then, so after detection, we have to send the data. See if, how we are detecting C. Right, screen is visible. So in the detection part, see now, in the network you have 4 systems, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And let's say from station 1, we are sending a frame to the station 4, right? We send on the channel. At the same time, from station 3 to station 1, from station 3 to station, we send the frame, right? Now the propagation is going on from 1 to 4 and from 3 to 1. In between, collision happen. In between, collision happen. And in between, let's say at that point 0.4, at point 0.4, collision happen. You know the length of the network, right? Length of this cable. So whatever the length from that point to that point is a propagation time, right? That is the propagation time. Let's say collision happen at this point. From this to this 0.4, let's say 40%. This is the 40% of the cable. This at this point collision happen. That is the 40% of the cable. So this is the 40%. So collision occurrence at the point 0.4. Now when collision happens, some energy will be generated. That energy will be high. This energy will go to the station 1 and to the station form through the cable. That energy will through the cable. So when it will reach to 0.4, again 0.4. So transmitting the data up to here, again receiving the energy, that signal, collision signal at station 1, it will take again 0.4 length, 40% length of the cable. So if we want to detect the channel, detect the collision, we need, if collision happen here, then detection will take time 0.8 into propagation time, right? If collision happen 20 at this point, then that much time is required to detect the collision. Let's say collision happen here. Let's say collision happen here in the end, right? To detect the collision from the perspective of station 1, I am saying, in the worst scenario you have to consider, from the perspective of station 1, because this is the starting point of the cable, right? That's the starting point. Whatever this energies will go again, this energy will go to reach this one to detect. It will take into propagation time, right? That is a propagation time when we are sending from 1 to 4. Let's say 4 is also sending the frame. When almost we reach to the station 4, station 4 starting transmitting. Station 4 starting transmitting the frame from 4 to 3 or 4 to 2, whatever, right? So here collision happen. Here collision happen. So whatever the energy is needed, this signal will go to the station 1. So how much time to detect this one? 2 into PT, right? So this is your collision detection. This is your collision occurrence. So see, this way we are detecting the collision. Similarly, this is almost time. This is almost time, 50.59 minutes. Let's say propagation time is a 1 hour or 60 minutes, right? If the 60-minute propagation time is there, so 50 actually 59.59, right? 59.59 something like this. So it is almost in the end point. So it will take 2 into propagation time in the worst case. Right, guys, make sense? Okay. Now, the range of collision occurrence, your vulnerable period in CSMCD, the range of collision occurrence is 0 to PT, in between length of the cable. Let's say whatever the length of the cable, your total propagation time, in between anywhere can happen, collision can happen. And the range of collision detection is 0 to 2 into PT. Because let's say in the worst case, in the end of the cable collision happen, then that signal will revert back to the starting point of the cable, right? And in CSMCD, every system has a dual process. System transmit the data, parallelly sends the collision also, right? So to detect a collision anywhere in the network, the system has to transmit minimum time of twice the propagation time, right? So if you want to detect a collision anywhere in the network, right, system has to transmit minimum time of twice the propagation time. What does means I am saying? Whatever the transmission time, what is the meaning of transmission? Your minimum frame length, up to, so that you can transmit this number of bit, whatever the frame on the channel, up to 2 into propagation time. Then only we can check collision will be there or not, right? See how what I am saying. This is very important. This is your minimum frame length. So your transmission time is equal to 2 into PT, right? And whatever the frame, this transmission time is a frame divided by bandwidth. So this frame size is a minimum frame size. Then only we can detect a collision anywhere in the network, right? Let's say transmission is going on, right? And if, let's consider, if the your transmission time is equal to the propagation time only, don't multiply with 2, right? So the last bit we send on the channel, right? Last bit we send on the channel, still propagation is going on. There is a less number of chance of collision if propagation time is equal to the transmission time. See, when the last bit we reach on the channel, again the propagation is going on, but channel become idle, right? Here channel become idle. So at that time we can't detect the collision, right? If the transmission is going on up to 2 into PT, then anywhere in the network we can detect the collision, right? If other station can send the frame, then during transmission collision will happen. If collision will happen, then we easily detect this one. So that's why the minimum frame size length should be up to 2 into PT. See this point, you can see from this slide, right? If the system has up to 2 PT, okay. If the system has transmitted up to 2 PT, each system, and there is no collision detection happen, right? There is no collision detection at this point, anywhere from any system, then we can say that at 2 into PT, the station has captured the channel, because it will busy throughout from starting point to end point. See, this is your A, this is your B. Transmission is going on. Is going on. And this is your frame length, let's say. This is your frame length. Now this part is idle, this part is idle, and that is considered as a propagation time. Then we say no, channel is idle. Let's say up to 2 into PT, transmission is going on still. So A and B, up to 2 PT, transmission is going on, right? Is still going on. So you, from end point to starting point, still some bits from the station A is there. Now in that time, if any other station will try to transmit, collision will happen, because channel is busy. because bits are transmitting, it will check channel is busy or not. Yes, channel is busy from the three persistent technique: zero persistent, one persistent, and pre-persistent. Any technique can use. If you are sensing the channel, oh, channel is busy, channel is busy. So if transmission goes up to 2 into PT, it means that particular station A acquired the channel, right? No other station can send the frame on the channel because channel is busy. Because in the CSMA, we are using these techniques: one persistent, zero persistent, and pre-persistent. That's why minimum time to acquire channel is called maximum time to detect collision. And you know that maximum time to detect collision, which is 2 into PT. Guys, say yes or no if it makes sense. Yes, fine. This is very important actually from this one. And this thing we use in the Ethernet protocol, that CSM CD we use in the Ethernet protocol. Okay, this flow diagram is the workflow of the CSM CD. So this is your start point, right? This is your start. Then counter is k is equal to 0. You know that thing. How many times retransmission will happen? That is the counter. Apply one of the persistent method, anything, one persistent, non-persistent, or pre-persistent, any method you have to apply. So transmission is going on. You have to check channel is busy or idle. If idle, then transmit. If transmission done or collision detection happen, right? If transmission is done, fine. Or if collision detection happen, or you say yes, right? Then up to 2 into PT, we have to send the jamming signal. I will talk about that part. What is the meaning of jamming signal? Right? And increment the counter, again send the frame. But before sending the frame, you have to apply the exponential back-off algorithm. Same, the back-off time. You have to wait random amount of time or back-off time, then try to sense the channel. If it is idle, then send the frame. If it is busy, again sense the channel and check. If it is idle, then send the frame. If you're sending the frame, collision happen and you able to detect the collision, then again apply the back-off time and check, wait that much time, again send the frame. Like this, the procedure will go on. And the jamming signal is, let's say at 40% of the length of the cable, you detect the collision, right? At 40%. So it means 40% means 0.8 into propagation time, you will able to detect the collision, right? So whatever the remaining time, 2 into PT minus 0.8 into PT, that much. Whatever the remaining time, 1.2 into propagation time, that much time you have to send the jamming signal. Don't block that time, right? Block that time so that no other station can send the frame, right? After 2 PT, you have to apply the back-off time. Some algorithm you have to apply. We will see in further slide that from that time, whatever the probability comes from that probability, sense this channel. And if you are sensing this channel, if it is idle, then send the frame like this. So that is a jamming signal, right? And how many you know k is equal to 50 maximum possible? Next one. How we apply the exponential backup algorithm, we have to see, right? So question is how long to wait once we detect the collision, right? Once we means whatever the collision detection up to 2 into PT, we have to send the jamming signal, right? After that, we have to apply the backup algorithm. So once the collisions are detected, station has to wait a random amount of time before retransmission the data. That time is given by exponential backup algo. See how. See how. This is host 1 or station 1, station 2. Both are sending. Some collision happen, right? Then both stations detect the collision happen. Up to 2 PT, some jamming signal will be there. So at 2 PT, at 220, automatically this algorithm will run and find out the how much time I have to wait. Right? See now. So this is your station one. One is a station one and two is a station two, right? So random amount of time you have to calculate. So this is the formula. From that formula you have to calculate. C 0 to this. Here we are calculating the probability. So probability means which station has a chance to send the this one 2 raised to power k minus 1 into propagation time. That much time you have to wait into propagation time, right? Similarly, for this is for station 2 waiting time and this is for station 1 waiting time. Let's say, and let's say there is no collision. If there is no collision, then you're waiting. Oh, sorry, this is k is a number of collision. Let's say first collision happened and both station detected the collision. Now the next time, which station has to transmit, right? So this is 0 1. It means in starting that station can transmit, or you have to wait one propagation. You have to wait one propagation time, then start, right? Then start. Similarly, in the starting, you can send, or at one propagation time, you have to wait, then send this one. Both are there, right? Both are there. So both can also start in the starting, or both can wait. That is the probability, right? That is the probability you have to calculate. See this one. But it's that question you can understand what is the meaning of exponential algorithm. Let's say station 1 and 2 have transmitted their data for first time and collided. Then what is the probability of station 1 will retransmit before station 2, right? Before station 2. So this is your waiting time for station 1 and this is your waiting time, right? And collision happen. After collision detection, so this one can transmit in the starting, means 0 propagation time, or 1 propagation time. Similarly, this station 2 can transmit in the starting, or you have to wait 1 propagation time. That is the probability. But in the question they are asking, what is the probability of station 1 will retransmit. So what is the probability of station 1 will retransmit before station 2? We have to see, apply combination, what is possible. If this station in the starting will send and this station 2 will start after wait one time, then only. So that is only one case, right? See, both can say both can start in the starting. One can start in the starting first station and second one wait for one time, or in the vice versa. First have to wait, second can send, or both have to wait. Both have to wait, right? Both have to wait. But which probability you have to find out? This probability you have to find out. So 4 total combinations are there in that one. So 1 by 4. That's why 25%, right? 0.25. And let's say collision happens second time also. Then how much time I have to wait? Let's say second time, 2-time collision happen, right? So if 2-time collision happen, how many possibilities are there? So 0 to 2 raised to power k minus 1, which is 0 to 3, right? So means in the starting you can send in the first propagation time, to second propagation time, or third propagation time. Up to that much we can send, right? So this possibility is there, right? So for station 1 and station 2 both, 0, 1 propagation time, 2 propagation time, 3 propagation time. 0, 1 propagation time, 2 propagation, 3 propagation time. 2-time collision happen. After that, who will send? Now, same question I'm asking. After 2 collision, what is the probability of station 1 can send the frame on channel before station 2, right? So how many total combination are possible? 16 combination, 0 0 0 1 0 2 0 3. Similarly, 1 0 1 1 1 2 1 3, like this, 16 combination. Now what is the probability? Station 0 will send the frame before station 2. That is the case. Means 6 number of cases possible, like 6 divided by 16, which is 3 by 8. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay, you know, I think some disconnection is going on. Let me check. Give me a few seconds. Yeah. Okay. Now see. Your station 1 and 2 have transmitted their data for first time, and collision happened. And now after collision, what is the probability of station 1 will retransmit before station 2? That is I'm asking, right? So after at 2 t points, see, at 2 into pt, 2 into pt, exponential algorithm will run, right? That exponential algorithm depend upon the how many times of retransmission, right? Maximum limit, you know, k is equal to 15, but every time you have to check, right? This exponential algorithm, which technique I'm using, 0 to 2 into pt, which is k minus 1 multiply with pt. That is the range, means that is the time slot, right? Means you have to wait pt, then only transmit, or you have to wait 2 pt, 3 pt, 4 pt, 5 pt, whatever. So it depends upon number. What is the counter value? What is the counter value? Means how many time collision happened. Now let's say after first collision, now collision detected, you have to wait or you don't have to wait. Two things are there. You have to wait, you don't have to wait. At 2 pt, whatever the exponential algorithm. So two things are there. In the starting you can send, or you have to wait pt, right? Two things. So the question I'm asking, what is the probability of station 1 will retransmit before station 2, right? So in that, station 1 in the starting can send, and station 2 can wait. Station 2 can wait, station 1 can send. That's simple thing I'm saying. That probability, but what will be the total number of possibilities? What will be the total number of possibility? Station 1 and station 2 can transmit in the starting, right? In the starting. Second possibility is station 1 can transmit, station 2 can wait. Third possibility is station can wait, station 2 can transmit. Fourth possibility is station 1 can wait and station 2 can also wait. Both can wait, right? That is a possibility. Probability in the question we are asking, probability of station 1 will retransmit before station 2. That's why 0 1 divided by the total, so 1 by 4, right? Similarly, now two collision happen. If k is equal to 2, if k is equal to 2, it means your range between 0 to 3. If k is equal to 2, if you calculate, so 0 to 3 possible range, 0 1 2 3 multiply with propagation, that much time you have to wait. Now see, 16 combination possible here, right? 16 after k is equal to 2, 16 combination, 0 1 2 3, right? So 0 0 0 1 0 2 0 3. Similarly every combination you can calculate, right? Now the same question I'm asking, what is the probability of one to transmit before station 2, right? So from that total number of possibility, how many cases are there? 6 cases are there here. So in that, station 1 is sending in the starting, and 1 PT, station 2 is waiting, right? Here, in the second case, here the station 1 is in the sending the frame in the starting, but the the station 2 is waiting 2 into PT, right? Similarly, 3 into PT for third. So, but the station 1 sending before from station 2. So 6 cases are there. So 6 divided by 16, right? So the probability is 3 by 8 of station 1 to send the frame before station 2. That's the meaning, right? Guys, say yes or no. Okay. Now, jamming signal. Jamming signal already I told about. Let's say collision happened at 0.7, right? This is the collision signal. And if 0.7 collision happened, if we want to detect how much time more we need, 0.7 more, it means 1.4 PT is there. The remaining time, 0.6 is the jamming time, you can say. So at that time, we'll send the jamming signal, right? So that no other station can send the frame, right? So exactly at 2 into PT, exponential Babcock algorithm will run, right? Will be starting. That's why we have to send the jamming signal, because we need to run the exponential algorithm exactly 2 into PT, because 2 into PT is the maximum time to detect the collision. This is the maximum time. That's why. So in meantime, we can send the jamming signal. Exponential backstop will be started on the basis we have to wait how much PT we have to wait. Simple. If collision is not detected at 2 into PT, let's say, then it means that particular station has acquired the channel. You know that thing. Because whole channel from starting to end, a single station transmission is going on, right? So every other channel is sensing, is busy. So no other station can the channel. That's why the station 1 or station A acquired the channel, let's say, right? In that. Now see this one. First, guys, try this question. CSM and CD technique we are using. Your data at the rate of 100 Mbps and length of the cable is 1 kilometer is given. Minimum frame size for the network is given. What is the signal speed? I'm asking the velocity. Try to calculate. Try this question. Done. Sanjeev suggestion. Okay. Take your time. Take your time. Answer is D. Okay. 20,000. So the main thing is you have to apply simple way. Your transmission time is equal to 2 into TP, right? Transmission time, your frame length, which is given, divided by bandwidth, which is also given, right? And 2 into TP, you know that thing, length of the cable divided by your velocity. So this V value you have to calculate, right? Easily you can calculate, right? So whatever the value, that will be the answer. Okay, it's loading. Guys, okay, try this one. Now try this one. This is also a great question. Ah, this one is only, yeah, that's the last one slide. Okay, right? This one is only last slide. Fine. So, which of the following statements to you about CSMA CD, right? Guys, audio is clear now? Now visible? I'm audible? Sanjeev and Sudarshan. Okay, I'm not audible. Sanjeev? Okay, okay. Now I got the message. Actually, I have to resolve that network maybe. Now tell me. So it's just a theoretical concept. CSM we use in Ethernet, right? In Ethernet. So Ethernet is always base. That is a false statement. This is a false statement. And the wireless thing, we use normally CSMA CA, collision avoidance. In the next lecture, we'll study about this one, CSMA CA, right? This one. And C part, the CSM CD is not suitable for high propagation delay like satellite network, right? And there is no contention is. So there is collision, it means there is contention. Right? So answer is C, right? So always contention is there. So this is false, this is false, this is false, answer is C. Okay, time to load the next question. Okay, guys, I think some network issue is there, and now visible. I think I have maybe some network issues there. I have to resolve, and yes, there is big time lag. Maybe I resolve. Almost lecture is over. Only two question is there. I will share in the slide. You can So just see the question and solve this question, right? It's a simple thing. One is a subnetting question and one more is a from the CSMCA. That's it. Two more questions is there. I think I'm done with this, right? Some time lag is there. I know. I'm also facing here. So I have to solve this time lag thing, maybe. And then only we, okay, and we will discuss on Sunday. Fine. Thank you guys. You can leave. Better. It's an easy question. No simple basic CSM CD and one subnetting question. You can try. I will share that slide in the group. Thank you.